to the state line pretty much, and we're watching these downpours develop, and then some of them turn off to be hailers, and then some of them even have some rotation, especially coming into southern Leflore County. So we want to give you an update on what we see. First off, we've got the severe thunderstorm watch. That includes everyone in 5 country from Bella Vista south to Talahina. So we have the chance for hail and wind. And then some of these storms will have a little bit of rotation. So if we take a closer look at some of these storms closer up, we've got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, one in northern Carroll County with this cell has some hail, although it looks like it's weakening a little bit as it pushes towards the state line with Missouri. We've got a big hailer now coming in towards the Kerr Reservoir Dam there, coming into Sequoia County, coming in from Haskell. So Haskell into Sequoia, we're watching this hailstorm too. We're going to take a closer look at each one of these. And then we've got more of a rotating supercell thunderstorm off towards the south coming into southern Leflore County. This one not only has some hail, but it's also trying to spin just a little bit. We still have an active tornado warning for Pushmataha County, extreme northeastern Pushmataha County, right where the lightning is. So it's just outside of Talahina and just outside of Big Cedar. Big Cedar's about here. We're watching this storm move very slowly. This thing kind of slowed down too. Earlier it was moving about 30, now it's moving about only 25 miles per hour or so, trying to inch its way towards Leflore. This storm should be good from Podo, should be good away from Heavener and Worcester and Fanshawe. We may get some of the rain, but it looks like that's a little bit tighter now. There's the circulation coming into southern Leflore County. I also want to show you some of the hail. I think, is this thing, am I moving yours, Abshire? Okay. Okay, I think I got it now. All right, so watching this hail, it looks a little bit smaller at this time, but we've had hail coming out of this storm up to about, let me get my mouse, almost up to 2-inch sized hail earlier, but now it's producing hailstones closer to that 1/4 inch or so. So up to about 1 inch of hail trying to come into Leflore County. But this storm will continue to stay south of Podo, south of Heavener, right towards Big Cedar. I think my thing is still trying to take yours, Abshire. I'm not sure why. All right, so this is the storm for Sequoia County, Tamaha, passing just west of the Kerr Reservoir. We've got some hail with this one too. I want to show you some of the hail cores on this storm as it's pushing its way into Sequoia County as we speak. Getting hail cores 1.5 inches. So we're talking about $half-dollar sized hail, you know, about almost golf ball sized hail or so, trying to cross the Arkansas River and come into Sequoia County. If you live in Vian, Salisaw, Dwight Mission, or Brushy, you're going to want to watch out for some hail coming in here shortly. I'll update the speed really quick. Let's move this storm over Sequoia. Let's talk about some timing. So Tamaha, really close any time around now, although it looks like it's a little bit on the northwest side of town. Vian, 255. Salisaw, 309, 312 for Marble City. And then 319 once you get a little bit higher up into Sequoia County there towards Brushy right now. But this storm is still just outside of Sequoia County, trying to cross the county line right now. Actually, it's crossing at this moment, trying to come into Vian. So right there in the Arkansas River bottoms, you've got the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge there. A lot of eagle nests there south of Vian. We're watching that hail core come in. It's coming towards I-40, coming towards Highway 64. They're right at the Vian exit of I-40. We've got some hail coming in for you guys. But downstream, Pinhook Corner and Dwight Mission, if you head towards McKee, just north and west of Salisaw, we'll be watching this hail core. I think most of the hail should stay anywhere near the racetrack and back north. So they're towards McKee and the Salisaw City Park, which is on the west side. You got Salisaw here with the casino. I think most of the hail should just be off towards our west, but we have this large severe thunderstorm warning that includes the majority of Sequoia County. Anywhere west of Muldrow, we've got this warning from Salisaw into Vian, Marble City, but McKee, we're really watching for you to watch this hail, Sycamore, and into Vian. Right there at the exit, you go north towards, eventually you're going to hit Lake Tenkiller. I think most of the hail should stay just south of the lake, but from Vian to Tamaha to the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge, we're watching this hail core. Right now, also towards the north, it looks like, Abshire, do we have an update? Was the warning expired on that northern storm?
Yeah, they canceled the Benton County storm, having that severe thunderstorm warning, and also canceled the tornado. going through parts of Pushmataha, but now into parts of Leflore County. Southern Leflore County no longer has that tornado warning coming into the area, but dealing with a new severe thunderstorm warning, likely due to the chance for some of that hail and some of that lightning and wind gusts. Right now, that rotation has been a little bit weakening as we've gone into the last few minutes or so. But taking a look across the area right now, that cold front is still over parts of eastern Oklahoma, working its way into Benton County. So Benton County probably seeing a break from the storms likely for the next few hours, because a lot of these storms are more off towards the east. Still dealing with those storms, obviously moving through Sequoia County. That's going to be moving into parts of Arkansas here, probably in the next hour or so, and then down to the south. That's where our strongest storm is at the moment. But taking a closer look at where we're dealing with some storms in northwest Arkansas right now. This was severe warned, like we mentioned a couple minutes ago, but now that's canceled for anybody who lives in Rogers, in Bentonville, and Benton County, where you had that severe thunderstorm warning. Not dealing with that anymore. Moving into Carroll County, and then eventually moving into Missouri there. But then if you live in northern Madison County as well, dealing with some of those stronger storms, not warned at the moment, but we have seen hail, we have seen lightning involved with this cell. So we'll see that continue to move through. But like Matt was talking about, hail is the main factor for that one moving through Sequoia County right now. That's where we're seeing hail upwards of an inch at times. That's why that is warned. That's moving mainly off towards the northeast, and we'll see that continuing to track towards the Arkansas state line as we get here into the next hour or so. But right now, just tracking a few of those stronger storms. We have scattered showers mixed in there in between along the line and maybe a little bit out in front. But our strongest storms definitely into parts of southern Leflore County. And this is far south. You know, Heavener is pretty far south into Leflore County, but it's still looking like it's tracking well towards the south of that. And this one's mainly moving towards the east. A lot of these storms that are in northwest Arkansas or in the River Valley are mainly moving towards the northeast. This one tracking more directly to the east. And so we've seen some rotation with this storm at times earlier on, about half an hour ago, and that's why that was severe warned, but not quite as tight as it moves through. Obviously, this radar site is really far away, so not seeing that rotation at the surface. This is more up into the atmosphere, but we'll keep an eye on this rotation. If that begins to tighten, wouldn't be surprised if that severe thunderstorm warning becomes more of a tornado warning as it pushes into parts of Leflore County and then off towards the east. But taking a look where we're looking at right now, Big Cedar maybe looking towards around 3 o'clock, seeing this storm move through. It's moving very slowly, only around 25 to 30 miles an hour, because it's tracking mainly towards the east, not along that front towards the northeast. So it's tracking very slowly. So we're just seeing a steady climb in the hail core, and as it moves off towards the east. And this, taking a look, the hail core is much bigger as you move a little bit farther towards the west. We're seeing mainly hail around a quarter of an inch right now. Wouldn't be surprised if that picked up as we go later on into that, as this storm moves toward the east. But right now, hail is not being a huge threat. Just tracking that lightning, tracking maybe some rotation as we move later on into the next half an hour or so. But Matt, like you mentioned, we've been tracking storms pretty much for the last half hour or so. Now just having those 2 thunderstorm warnings. What are you seeing out there?
We're watching some of the cameras. I want to show you, Abshire, we've got our camera in from Fort Smith. This is one of our newer ones, the United States Marshals Museum. You're looking back off towards the west and southwest right now over the Arkansas River. Lots of cumulus clouds trying to bubble up. We've got downpours around the area, but then only some of them are severe. Those were the ones that Abshire was just tracking for you. But you're looking back off towards the west where more storms will continue to come in from Oklahoma. This is a live look in Bacola, and right along the state line with Fort Smith, too. What you're watching is that storm that's near the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge. They are way off in the distance in southwestern Sequoia County. That's where the darker clouds are. You can see some of the rain trying to fall. It'll become a little bit more defined once that storm gets a little bit closer to the state line itself, because this camera's on the state line, and you're looking towards the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge. Once again, multiple severe thunderstorm watches all across Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, into Texas and Louisiana. And as this front pushes eastbound, it's sparking all these storms. This is probably where the last line of storms will be. We're starting to wrap things up in northwest Arkansas already. Our window for severe weather is really only until about 4 or so. But in the River Valley, we've got a longer window because we've got clear storms all the way from Sequoia County to Clarksville and into Boonville and Paris and Waldron. But 2 major storms that we have in the River Valley right now, Sequoia County and southern Leflore County. Let's take a closer look at the Sequoia County and Leflore County storms. This is the farther south one. Honobia headed towards Big Cedar. Once again, this is probably our strongest thunderstorm. At least it's had a rotation history with it. The rotation has been just on the southwest side of the storm, but we've got more cells trying to pop up and trying to feed in towards it. So that may make it a little bit messier over the next couple of scans. But right where you see the lightning, we do have some rotation, but good storm coming into Leflore County, staying mainly south of Heavener, south of Worcester, south of Poto. Poto, you guys are good from this storm particularly. There could be some more pop-ups there towards Red Oak on the other side of Kavanaugh Hill over the next couple of hours. But right now, the only storm that we have to really worry about in Leflore is extreme southern Leflore County, there towards Big Cedar. I want to show you some of that rotation. You can see the reds and the greens. We've got this storm spinning, but for now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. If that rotation starts to tighten up a little bit, we'll probably get a tornado warning out of it, and then you'll need to take shelter if you're in the Big Cedar area. But we're talking southern Leflore, so very rural, very beautiful as you're taking a trip down the Talamina Drive, but we do have a decent amount of lightning and a decent amount of hail. This hail is crossing over the state line right now, coming over some of those ridges that are just outside of Tallahassee right now, but this will probably be just heading right along Whitesboro and Muse, right along 63. 63 takes you right in between some of those mountains, so you can see the mountains on the map. If you got the northern range, you got the southern range, and 63 goes right in between, and you hit the Horse Heaven Ranch, and then you come into Whitesboro, Muse, and then eventually you'll head towards Big Cedar. So Big Cedar's right about here. So if you live in the Big Cedar area, watch out for some hail that's coming in towards you guys. The severe thunderstorm warning backs up all the way to the state line. This storm will probably eventually head east into parts of Scott County, and then maybe even Polk County. But it's still a little bit of ways to go because this thing is moving very slowly. I mean, updated speed on this coming in from the National Weather Service is right at 30 miles per hour. So we've been kind of bouncing between 25 to 30 miles per hour. This thing's a little bit slow, but we are watching this hail coming in towards Highway 63, just north of Honobia. Honobia is on the other side of the ridge, there towards the south, right along 144. But then once you head north towards 63, from out of Tallahassee, you head into Whitesboro and Muse and the Horse Heaven Ranch. That's where we're watching this hail try to come in for you guys. Once again, staying south of Heavener. There's Worcester State Park and Worcester Lake there, staying south of Worcester. We should be good with this storm. All right, headed north down to Sequoia County. Good storm, big healthy storm right here. Western portions of the county. You've got the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge right here. We've gotten some hail around you guys just north of Tamaha, coming into Sallisaw. We've got the rain now hitting the horse track right now into McKee and then Brushy too. I want to show you the hail track that we've had on this. It looks like the recent scan has kind of downtrended it just a little bit, but these things are pretty cyclical. They produce some hail, then they'll get that cycle going, and then they'll produce another bout of hail sometimes if it's not completely sustained and constant. But we're going to be watching this kind of drop hail, weekend, drop hail, and weekend as it moves closer towards the state line. But right around Vian, we've got some of that hail headed towards the west side of Sallisaw. You got McKee, it's about here, and then you've got the Sallisaw, that horse race track, and the Sallisaw City Park, which is just west of that, kind of near this little ridge that we have. Just south of the ridge, you got the horse track. That's where we're going to be watching some of that hail come in. But if you live in Brushy, we're going to be next. We've been up there for some school visits. Beautiful spot. You probably see that storm really well looking south and west. But rain's starting to come in, but then the hail's also starting to come in back behind that too. Dwight Mission, we're going to be watching some of that hail as well. Most of this is staying south of Lake Tenkiller, which you see in the blue right here. So south of Black Gum, south of Evening Shade, but right there towards the Cedar Grove area. Pinhook Corners, Dwight Mission, Marble City. Marble City's a little bit farther north. We could be getting some hail too, but they're from Dwight Mission south to McKee as we're going to be watching for some of this hail. And Pinhook Corners, which is right just southwest of Dwight Mission, will have some hails possible for you guys. And then you go up to the Brush City Lake, which is just outside of Marble City, and then you come into Brushy, get a little bit higher up in the terrain. We'll watch that storm coming in. So here's a wider view going in now northwest Arkansas. These storms are not severe, although it looks like we've got some strengthening. They're headed into Berryville. Good downpour for us, and lightning strikes also recording for us too. When we take a look at hail, we don't actually have any active hail. What you're looking at is all the hail that we've had in the past, over the past hour. But if I take those tracks off, you don't see anything. Technically, my map's moving, but you don't see anything on there, so you only see the tracks. So we don't have any active hail now in northwest Arkansas, so that is good news. We're starting to wrap up our severe threat in northwest because our boundary itself, I'm just going to draw it real quick. This is going to look kind of rough. Would be about in here. So you live west of this front, you're good. So we're starting to be in the clear for Benton County, although we still have got some cells that are trying to form along the line. That'll move north and east, and we'll see if those are able to grow. But right now, Stephen, it looks like we've got our 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we've also got, there's kind of that cell that's a little bit east of Fort Smith. We'll have to keep an eye on that, Stephen, what are you seeing at this hour?
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines of what you're talking about, where that cold front is really beginning to set up. Parts of Benton County are already seeing some of that drier air moving in. We've seen eastern Oklahoma already seeing those dew points, so that humidity outside has dropped from the 60s, which we're seeing for much of northwest Arkansas, getting into the river valley, into the upper 60s. But parts of eastern Oklahoma already seeing those dew points into the 50s, so that drier air is sinking in. So if you live in parts of western Benton County, you're likely seeing the last of the storms for today because that front's moved through and that storm threat has decreased. But anywhere east of it are still seeing the chance for some storms. Like Matt mentioned, still seeing some storms popping up for Sebastian County. You move closer to that line, that's where that big storm is popping up in Sequoia County. When you're close to that front, that's where that colder air is beginning to already sink overhead. So that's why you can see some of that bigger hail. And then obviously down to the south is where we're seeing that storm that had a little bit of rotation moving into Leflore County, bringing some hail, bringing a lot of lightning as of right now. But taking a closer look across the area, like we've been talking about, still seeing those scattered storms ahead of the front for parts of Carroll County, seeing some heavier storms moving in, not seeing a lot of hail anymore. We have seen some hail upwards of an inch and a half, and that's why we saw that severe thunderstorm warning earlier. But for parts of Benton County, especially eastern Benton County, you're looking good. Northern Madison County still seeing a few storms moving into the area. But this is one of the stronger storms that we're still keeping an eye on as we move into this afternoon, moving towards the Arkansas state line, just north of Sallisaw, producing inch to an inch and a half hail. So that's why it's severe thunderstorm warned at the moment. When you have hail over an inch, that's when you see that warning. But if you live in parts of Brushy, if you move towards Cherry Tree, and then as you move towards the Arkansas state line, got until around 3:45 for Cedarville until you see this storm move in. Brushy, you got until around 3:07 to 3:10 before you see some of that lightning, some of the stronger storms moving into the area. So it might move a little bit north of Bellefonte and then a little bit south of Cherry Tree, but moving into southeastern Adair County right now into the next 20 minutes or so. This storm's moving a little bit faster than the one that we highlighted down towards the south in Leflore County, moving at around 35 miles an hour. That one towards the south only moving around 25 to 30. So the main threat with this one, when we have that cold front just off towards the west, is mainly going to be the hail chance. Cooler air aloft, you're seeing some of that hail begin to form, and that's what this threat is. But you're also seeing some lightning across the area in general. If you take a look at our hail tracker, if I can pull it up right here, we saw bigger hail farther off towards the west. We see this light gray. This is likely what's falling right now, but it's not very big. So this warning was because of the chance for inch to an inch and a half hail. Right now, we're not seeing that inch hail, but we could see this thing recycle as it moves into northeastern Sequoia County, into parts of Adair County right now. But lots of lightning still, heavy rain in the system, even if we're not seeing the larger hail that we saw when it was a little bit farther towards the west. But taking a look around the area, down towards the south, still have that severe thunderstorm warning for parts of far southern Leflore County. Lots of lightning in this system, very heavy rain. We did see some rotation at times in this storm. It's very far from that Fort Smith radar, so it's hard to see what the rotation is going to be like at the ground. So you're seeing rotation a couple hundred, if not 1,000 feet up into the air. So up aloft, we're seeing that rotation. At the surface, maybe not so much. But taking a closer look, a lot of lightning just moving past Honubby right now. That's just moving pretty much directly towards the east. A lot of these storms are mainly moving northeast along that front. This one's moving mainly east, 25 to 30 miles an hour is how fast it's been moving. So it's taken its sweet time as it moves through southern Leflore County. We'll see it eventually cross into the Arkansas state line probably within the hour or so, but moving very slowly as it goes through Leflore County. We can still see some rotation aloft. Not right now. It doesn't look like it's enough to spark a warning, but we could see this thing tighten like we did when it was a little bit farther towards the west in Pushmataha County. But for now, just going to keep an eye on the storm as it moves through, producing a lot of lightning, producing some hail. Could see some tightening up of the rotation as we move later on into the afternoon. But if we take a little bit of a wider look, if I can get things going here. I know Matt and I are having some issues with our clickers, but just looking at the timing as we move into the rest of Leflore County, Octavia, you got around to about 3:15 to 3:20 until you see it probably move a little bit towards the north of Octavia and far southern Leflore County there on the border. And then as we move towards the Arkansas state line, you're probably looking more as we get into 3:45 or so as that moves towards the east. So we're just going to keep an eye on these storms as they move through. Matt, are you seeing anything new on radar or on any of the cameras we have around there?
Yeah, I keep looking at that Cola camera that we have on the Choctaw.
Yeah.
See that storm very well that you're looking at because it's all the way on the other side of the floor. But we can see that storm in Sequoia County a little bit more clearly. as you're looking back towards the west, towards Vian, towards the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge, and then towards Salisaw. But we're still watching the severe storm in southern Leflore County because that one still has some rotation on it. There has been a slight increase. When you're looking at some of these radar scans, it looks like it's in the extreme southwestern corner of the county, though, right over Honubby and Fewell, and then headed right along 144. So let's take a closer look at some of those cells a little bit farther south. So we've got our 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, one over Sequoia, one over Leflore. The southern one has been one to really watch, though, because it earlier had a tornado warning on it as it was producing that circulation over northern Pushmataha County. Now it's crossed into Leflore County. We're still getting some of that rain in Pushmataha, but this storm is staying south and east of Talihina now. I think Talihina, we're probably going to be mostly good for now, but it's a storm that's producing a lot of heavy rain, a lot of gusts, some lightning too, and right there where the lightning is where we have that circulation right on radar. Here's a closer look at some of that spinning in the atmosphere. I'll go ahead and zoom in for us just a bit. So once again, this thing is slow. This thing is barely moving about 25 miles per hour. So we've got Honubby, we've got Ludlow, but here's the thing. In southern Leflore County, let me go ahead and pop it up. You kind of have 2 main thoroughfares coming out of Talihina. I'll roughly draw them for you. You've got one here, you got one here. So the one towards the south is 144. You can go in between, it just takes you a little bit. It's called the Indian Highway. So just north on the Indian Highway as you go towards, right there towards Muse and Whitesboro on 63. You've got 144, you've got 63. So the Indian Highway takes you right in between, but that's where we have a lot of these Ouachita ridges in between. So this is extreme rural parts of Leflore County. Some of this is state-owned, some of this corporate-owned, some of this is privately owned, but it's going to be headed towards the Kiamichi Lookout Tower, which is south of Muse. So right there in those ridges is where you got the Kiamichi Lookout Tower about here. So that gives you some perspective on where this storm is. It's headed towards the Lookout Tower, and then eventually it's going to be headed towards Big Cedar, 259. Beautiful country out here, but most people live either south towards Ludlow or Honubby, or then north towards the Whitesboro area, or Lenox, or Muse, right there along Highway 63. So in between, in the mountains, is where we have the circulation to try to put in a little bit of perspective. There's also some good hail, but look where the hail is too. You can see on the map with the terrain, the hail is mainly sticking over those mountain ridges right now. So just south of Whitesboro and just south of Muse there, towards the Kiamichi Lookout Tower, which is about right here. So we've got some hail headed towards you guys. We also have that circulation. They're very closely coordinated. It looks like the hail kind of comes in first, and you've got the circulation there on the southwest side of that hail, but mainly sticking in these mountains. So it gets a lot more rural out here in southern Leflore County. So you have Heavener, you've got Worcester, you've got Poto, you've got Howe. We're well off towards the north. We don't have to worry about this storm, but it is towards the south. Just want to give you some perspective where this storm is and who's it's headed towards. You got Big Cedar, which is kind of one of your biggest spots there. Beautiful area right along the Highway 259 is where you've got Big Cedar. This is coming towards you guys. It's just a very slow mover, but if you've got some extra time, you got a chance, maybe put the truck in the garage. Try to avoid those windshields trying to get cracked by this hail core that's coming in. New scan you can see maybe has weakened that just a little bit, so that is some good news. Let's head to our northern storm. Good healthy storm coming out of Sequoia County. I'm going to take a look at rotation here too, just to kind of check on it. Not so much. It's mainly, this one's probably mainly just a hail one for us. Here's a closer look at some of the hail, maybe a small uptick going up Highway 59. They're right towards Brushy, so coming in towards the Marble, just southeast of Marble City, coming into Brushy up Highway 59. You got Seven Oaks, you got Salisaw. This is staying on the northwest side of Salisaw, even though we're getting some rain and you can hear the lightning, you can hear the thunder, you see the lightning out there across Salisaw, but the hail core should just be towards our north. Once you get about just north of the Dollar General there at the Sparks Corner store, we see that black line right there. So just north of the Dollar General and into Dollar General too, and then head north towards Brushy. Before you get to Brushy, you got some of that hail pocket that's going to be just north of Salisaw. Seven Oaks, Aikens, we could also be getting some of that hail too, so watch out for that. And then you've got 101, which cuts across towards the east. We've got hail for you guys right at the corner there with Dollar General and the Sparks Corner store. You head north into Brushy, watch out for you guys. You've got the Barry Dotson Airport, which is on the west side. Let me move this out just a bit. once you get more towards Brushy. So up and down Highway 59, you got the airport right here. You got Brushy, you've got the school. We were watching that hail pocket come in towards you guys, probably up to about quarter-sized hail, but still potentially severe and could produce some damage, but it's not as large as some of the hail that we've had even a little bit earlier today, for some of us a little bit farther west, and really compared to the hail that we had, remember this past Saturday, that meteorologist Stephen Elmore was tracking, it's not quite as big as that, so that is good news. But we got up to quarter-sized hail tracking across Sequoia County. You can see the path itself going in from Porham. You head just towards the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge, there towards Tamaha and Vian, west of the Kerr Reservoir Dam. And then now it's tracking into Sequoia, of course, but it's a little bit weaker with some of those gray colors right now, up to quarter-sized hail, trying to cross Highway 59. Let's see. Take you farther towards the north. This is one storm that Abshire was tracking for us. It's still producing some good rainfall, some lightning. Fayetteville, we're trying to wrap up some of the rain for us. It looks like it's more over Greenland and Drake Field, but it's pushing away. There's Drake Field. You see the landing strip there. Pushing out of Greenland, headed towards Baldwin, Wyman, and Harris. So Fayetteville, we're starting to clear out. Farmington, we're clearing out. Prairie Grove, we're also starting to clear out from this storm too. We've got some showers there right along the front itself, trying to cross the state line in from Westville to Lincoln, but those are just some small sprinkles coming at us, some lighter rain there towards Stillwell and Cherry Tree, but we're watching that storm there in Sequoia, and we're watching this storm it's been slow, but it's slowly trying to get a bit bigger there towards the Mulberry area. Let's send it over to meteorologist Stephen Abshire. It looks like you're tracking that hail core. It might have went up a little bit.
Yeah, that one just north of Mulberry you're talking about there. We are obviously tracking the one moving through Sequoia County and just moved to Salsa. Now Brushy, we're really seeing that hail core begin to increase there now. But as we move around, we can see a little bit on the how far out we're looking. But the hail core north of Mulberry is really what we are looking for. Is it's increasing as of right now as we move across the area. Let's go back here, Matt, if you can. I think you're got to control them on a little bit. So here's the hail core through Sequoia, like we were mentioning near Brushy, just south of Brushy, really increasing. But we can also see from Alma north to Mulberry, we're seeing that hail begin to pick up there. Taking a closer look at that area, let's see if we can pull that up. But then taking a look at we're seeing a little bit more in terms of hail. Again, not severe enough at the moment. We're looking at hail that's under an inch, probably close to that quarter of an inch size, pea-size hail. But we are seeing that this storm in general has been increasing over the last 20 minutes or so. We're seeing a lot of red on the radar, so heavier rain, got some hail in there and some lightning picking up. If you live in Alma, you're probably good from the rain, and if you're driving along I-40 as well, not quite as worried about that hail threat at the moment. North of Mulberry, though, as you get into Franklin County, that's where this storm is heading into parts of very rural areas of Franklin County, then heading north even into southeastern Madison County over the next half an hour or so. But we have seen more hail associated with this storm as we've moved into the last 15 minutes and 20 minutes or so. But this is still the big storm in our area right now in terms of the chance for tornadoes and some of the larger hail we have seen in parts of Leflore County. But this is very far towards the south of Huebner. If you live in Huebner, you're not going to have to worry about it. But as you move farther towards into Arkansas and into parts of Scott County, is likely going to stay south of Waldron, but we'll see what this storm, how it moves. It's been moving very easterly as we've gone throughout the afternoon, and it's moving very slowly. If you've lived in Honubby, it's been quite a long time since you've seen a stop in the rain, because really over the last hour or so, we've just seen it very slowly push through the area. Here's a closer look at how this storm is moving in right now. But a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning in the system. We have seen some rotation at times. It looks like it's died down quite a bit. Maybe just a little bit of rotation up in the atmosphere. Nothing at the surface right now that would cause a tornado warning. So this is just staying as a severe thunderstorm warning, likely because of the hail threat that's moving through the area. But taking a wide look across northwest Arkansas and the river valley, that cold front is likely going from around Benton County down through the half of Sequoia County that is now in the dry, and then going down towards McAllister is where that cold front is sitting right now. So you live in parts of Benton County, live in parts of Adair County, especially the northern half, you're likely done with storms for today. We'll see this cold front slowly push off towards the east, and then we'll see Fayetteville begin to get clear in the next hour or so. But we're still going to have to watch out for this storm in Sequoia County, and then down towards McAllister. Could see some more storms popping off in this area. Then they'll be moving into northern Leflore County, then in potentially parts of Sequoia, and then Sebastian County. So we'll keep an eye on this section as we get going here in the next hour. But if you are watching in this area of eastern Oklahoma and then moving into northwest Arkansas, unlikely to see storms popping up in this direction. So likely clear if you live in parts of far western Benton County, maybe even parts of far western Washington County as you go into the next, really next of the afternoon. But a lot of these storms are going to be pushing off towards the east. If you live in Clarksville, Paris, Waldron, parts of Logan, Scott counties, Franklin County, we're likely going to see those storm threat increase as we get into the next couple of hours as that cold front slowly pushes off towards the east. Matt, I know we were looking at some live cams. Anything showing up on live cams or showing up on radar right now?
Yeah, let me try to pop those up. Of course, we got the Marshall's Museum cam, although we're not really getting too much there from the camera yet. We do have that storm towards our west. That's a stationary cam, so we really can't move it. The skies are getting a little bit darker here, right in Pensacola, right along the state line. You're looking back west now towards the storm in Sequoia County. That's still producing some hail there towards Brushy. But this one should probably, at least the hail pocket, stay north of Pensacola and stay mainly more into Sequoia County and then head into eventually Crawford County. We'll be watching that. But here's just a wide view again, watching more of these downpours pop up. That storm, just from a wide view, that storm that's coming into Franklin County, though, is really strengthening a little bit. Don't be surprised if we get a new severe thunderstorm warning. That would be for Franklin County and maybe even downstream into Johnson County. We're watching that storm very close to Mulberry and then east of Mountainburg. Of course, you've got the severe thunderstorm warning in Sequoia. That's what Abshire was just tracking for you. Good lightning pocket on that too. And then a little bit more disorganized with that storm in southern Leflore. It used to be, one supercell, but we're starting to get more downpours around it, trying to attach, especially on the southwest side. That could be messing up with the rotation just a little bit. It looks like the rotation's still there, but it has weakened a bit. It's a little bit broader right now. Just something to watch. It could definitely cycle back up, but right now, it's over the Kiamichi Lookout Tower, headed towards Big Cedar. Big Cedar, we're already getting the rain. Most of us in southern Leflore County are getting that rain south of Heavener and towards Muse and Lenox, and then Whitesboro getting some of that rain too. But the circulation, the hail, are a little bit back off towards the west, right over the Kiamichi Lookout Tower and up and down the Indian Highway between 144 and then 63. But then we've also got some more downpours, it looks like, west of Kavanaugh Hill. We'll see how those kind of, if they uptick at all. But you see them, other side, there towards Bocoshi and Callington. And then we've got some northwest Arkansas storms, though, too. Although if you live in Fayetteville and in Bentonville, I think we're wrapping things up. Of course, we still have the watch. But as the front gets closer, that reduces our severe weather chances the farther north and west you go. Like, for example, Tulsa and then Siloam Springs, west into Muskogee. They're done. Once the cold front passes through, you're good. So we'll be watching that. Winds will start to change direction too. But just across the state, we're watching these little downpours take place. Next couple of hours, hail will be the biggest threat for 5 country. And then many of these pop-up downpours that you have will start to run into one another and possibly kind of create little lines pushing through across central Arkansas that could bring some gusty winds there into Conway and Little Rock. But right now we're watching isolated downpours with some hail pockets popping up here at the moment. So let me go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer. There's, of course, 5 country, a little bit closer to home. Watching good downpours pushing to Franklin. Watching some growth with these storms there west of Lake Wister and west of Poto, west of Kavanaugh Hill. Now in Poto, we don't have to worry about the storm towards our south. This one that's been spinning just a little bit towards Big Cedar. We're kind of keeping our eye towards some of these downpours back west. But Sequoia County, that is probably one of our stronger storms as well. That's right over Sallisaw. But let's take a closer look at the storm that's produced some rotation at times. Remember, we had that tornado warning a little bit earlier for Pushmataha County, but it looks like that the core of the circulation is still anywhere between 63 and 144 there in southern Leflore County. So this is still in between Whitesboro and the Kiamichi Tower there towards Ludwell and Octavia. You get closer to Big Cedar too. So what you're looking at here on the radar is the circulation with the reds and the greens. I'll draw it out for us. What we're watching is this, just a broad rotation, a lot weaker than it was earlier. Moving eastbound. In between, you've got, let me see, let me put you a pointer. Okay, so right here you've got Highway 63, and then you got 44 right here, kind of on both sides of the circulation. You got 63, you got 144. And then this whole storm is trying to close in around Big Cedar. So Big Cedar, we're next to watch this. Right now it's definitely a lot weaker, but just something to watch here. And the hail is definitely something to watch too. We're already getting the hail in Big Cedar. In fact, we've already had it for a while. But now hail trying to come in towards Highway 59 there towards Page. We're watching Page right now, watching some hail for you guys. And then this storm could eventually push into southern Scott County there towards Black Fork, Brawley, Blancett, and then eventually they're towards Jones Creek. But 259 up and down Big Cedar getting that hail right now. And the circulation's a little bit farther towards the west. So you get the rain first, you could possibly get some hail, and then you may even see a little bit of a wall cloud at times across southern Leflore County. Here's a look farther northbound in Sequoia. Abshire, was that warning canceled?
Yeah, that warning was just canceled, and that storm's moving pretty quickly. So we might see if that hail core can really come back around. We might see again a severe thunderstorm warning as it moves into parts of Adair County, and then maybe even into parts of southern Washington County, parts of northern Crawford County. We'll keep an eye on this storm, obviously, as it keeps developing. It's moving much quicker than the storm we're seeing moving through Leflore County. But yeah, that storm has been seen that thunderstorm warning canceled, but a lot of that warning was still over parts of far eastern or far western Leflore County, just towards Sallisaw. So that storm's mainly going through Brushy at the moment. We're still seeing some hail associated with that storm, but taking a closer look at maybe some timing wise, we're seeing right in the middle of Brushy is where the storm, some heavy rain, some hail embedded in there, probably not at that severe limit of around an inch, so maybe a little bit smaller than that, but still seeing some heavy rain. If you live in parts of Adair County or parts of far northeastern Sequoia County, getting into parts of Crawford and Washington County, starting to see the storm move through. And by Evansville, right along the state line, you're probably going to see it at around 345 or 350 or so, and then we'll continue to track the threat for some hail as this tracks more off towards the northeast. But still a lot of lightning in this system, still a lot of heavy rain, and the potential to see that hail beginning to cycle. We're also keeping an eye on that system that is moving through now Franklin County. We might even see a little bit of rotation beginning to, or at least trying to form just north of Mulberry. It's moved over I-40, so a lot of heavy rain in this system. We've seen hail not at that limit for a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe around 1/4 of an inch, but we're trying to see maybe getting a little bit of rotation now north of I-40, north of Mulberry, moving into Franklin County. A lot of this is aloft, not quite worried about the tornado threat, but we'll keep an eye on this. Could see it severe warned now with a mixture of the chance for a tornado, but also that hail course picking up now that we take a look north of Mulberry, north of I-40. Just in the last few minutes, we've seen the hail pick up there as it moves now into Franklin County, but we'll keep an eye on this system, obviously, as it continues to move throughout the area. Lots of lightning still embedded with some of these storms, lots of heavy rain. As this moves to more rural parts of Franklin County, more towards the north, you live in Ozark, you're going to be clear of this storm. Could see some more down wind, more down towards if we see anything pop up in Sebastian County, that's what we're going to worry about moving through towards Ozark. But this will be more towards the north of Franklin County as the system keeps moving through. But obviously going to keep an eye on this system still moving through Leflore very slowly, moving mainly east at this time. A lot of those other storms off to the north are moving more northeast. But this system is moving very slowly, 20 to 25 miles an hour. And now we're seeing that this severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped as well. We'll see if they reissue this. But the hail threat probably diminishing enough that we're not worried too much about the severe threat, but still a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning moving through southern Leflore County. But taking more of a look around the area, we're just going to keep an eye on this system as it moves into parts of Scott County, maybe even moving into eventually Logan, parts of southern Sebastian County. So still keeping an eye on this storm as it moves throughout the area. Lots of lightning. Matt, are you seeing anything different right now? I think we're seeing a break from all the severe thunderstorm warnings across the area.
I think we are. So a lot of them have now expired. I think all of them have now expired. But like you said, the one that's coming into Franklin County could definitely strengthen a little bit. This is a live look. In Bacola, you're looking towards that storm that's just towards our north and west with some of that hail that went towards Brushy. But because we've had a quick pause in severe thunderstorm warnings, we've got a new one for Carroll County, but it's extreme northeastern Carroll County. There was a slight uptick in the hail there. I'll take a closer look at that here in just a moment. This is a wide view with the severe thunderstorm watches that are still on effect with the yellow. All of 5 countries still in a watch. We still have multiple downpours out there. At any time, they could try to become severe once again. The rotation in Leflore County is really weakened. The hail's also weakened quite a bit, too. You're looking at that rotation. It's much more broad, not as defined. So that is good news. The hail was a lot larger back off towards the west. The hail right now is very small, closer to the dime-sized hail right now. Of course, we got some of that hail in Sequoia County. A bit smaller. Now, there could be some decent hail just north of Belfont, headed towards Coppic Slat and then towards Barcelona, north of Uniontown. But then, once again, there's that new severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Carroll County with a quick hail pocket there over Green Forest. We're going to take a quick break as we watch these storms develop over time. Right now, just a lot of heavy rain, some lightning for some of us in between. Not a lot going on, but that doesn't mean you're safe now. We're watching more downpours off towards the west. So we're going to see these continue to try to uptick a bit as the cold front gets closer. We'll continue to give you coverage throughout the afternoon hours. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.